held it in about as well as a rumbly fart. Okay, just to go before we devolve any worse than we already have.
Welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments from episodes 13 through 16 of Doctor Slump with you, our listeners.
We're gonna jump right in. So this is your one and only warning to make sure that you have watched all of the episodes before you join us for this podcast review. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive. And we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
Please check out our Instagram at the KDrama Show. Life is getting less hectic, so I will be posting more for the Ashley T and just any other things that we find interesting and updates of our show. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Episode 13, HaNeul is in the hospital after the car accident, and JeongWoo is stepping up and just kind of helping the family kind of figure out how to get through this really big ordeal. We get a glimpse into kind of the history with KyungMin and why he did what he did. And yeah, there we go. That's 13.
So episode 14, we've seen KyungMin's guilt come to light, and it actually clears JeongWoo's name. Mm-hmm. And we see that a little bit more of his motivation as to why he felt the need to frame JeongWoo. But then we get to see the family trip to HaNeul's father's memorial, and that's kind of a special bonding time for them. Mm-hmm. Things are looking up for JeongWoo and HaNeul professionally and personally, and that's kind of where that episode wraps up.
Let's see, 15, HaNeul goes back to the hospital and is a professor, and so she's leaving the plastic surgery clinic, and we get a little bit of a look between DaeYoung and HongRan and kind of where they're where they are heading, and JeongWoo, with his new direction of life after he is awarded what he lost, decides to make a way for him and HaNeul to stay together by performing a really, really important surgery for a little girl together.
Episode 16 kind of wraps everything up really nicely by we get to see sort of the growth arcs of all of our beloved characters and just kind of where life has taken them, and it really wraps up nicely just the themes around mental health and things like that, and also just the romance arc between our two leads. So tropes. I can kind of touch on these, and then if you want to expand upon them.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Episode 13, we have HongRan and DaeYoung. They share an umbrella after dinner.
Yes.
Very cute.
That is also in our other show that we're covering, Business Proposal, with the umbrella.
Yes.
That's in Goblin. Goblin
Yes.
always has his umbrella.
It's in My ID is Gangnam Beauty.
Have not watched it yet, but it's a big part of Lovely Runner.
Okay.
That K-drama is that the yellow umbrella, and I was like, Business Proposal did the yellow umbrella first. Just
How I Met Your Mother did it first.
yeah, that's actually true.
The next one I have down is episode 14. We have the Sauna, and we have DaeYoung helping HongRan with the game by let me help you, sweetie. And she's kind of I like it, but also my kid's right there. So.
Please stop.
And then the moment's kind of ruined when she says, yeah, he's definitely not my boyfriend.
No way.
I would never date him.
Nay, friends.
Ouch. Episode 14, we had the fireworks on the river.
Fireworks. Also Business Proposal and What's Wrong with Secretary
Kim. There's sort of that in My ID is Gangnam Beauty. But it's at when she has to change her shirt.
Afterwards, yep.
And then we have episode 14's Kopiko from HaNeul to JeongWoo. Episode 16, I didn't catch a whole lot in 15.
Mm-mm.
Episode 16, we had HongRan and DaeYoung share a kopiko again.
Kopiko, man.
I feel like my favorite kopiko trope scene was between DaeYoung and JeongWoo when they're like recapping where their relationship really broke down, and they're just kind of like traipsing through the hallways, giving each other coffee candies, and having a
That's the best
flirting
one.
relationship.
They were, yes.
It was beautiful. And then the final one was episode 16's car advertisement from JeongWoo when he gets his new car.
Yeah.
Doesn't get his new car, but we have that
The look.
little, yeah. Okay. On to themes. So mental health. That's kind of been the big one in this show. I really liked that HaNeul likened her mental health to the rain. I think it was episode 15. Maybe. I'm trying to remember. It's whenever he I think it's whenever he got mad at her for going to KyungMin, which I think was episode 15.
Maybe
14.
14.
Yeah. But she says like the rain, the sadness will stop. And I thought that was kind of nice. And the other half of that metaphor is that the rain comes again. Like it doesn't just stay away.
Right.
And that's not healthy for it to just stay away. Like we need rain, just like we need sunshine.
Yeah.
Both of those things, grow people. And I just thought that was a good metaphor.
Yeah, the other really big one was it's in episode 16 when she's at her final visit with her therapist. And they're in the waiting room because he's like, I always like to walk my patients out on their last day. Mm-hmm. He goes, because then he like makes a comment of like, look, like this room is full of people who aren't okay. And like what they're trying to do is to get better. And she asks him, well, what does that mean to get better?
Does it mean to be happy?
Does it mean to be happy? And he says, no, it means like learning to accept your misfortunes and being okay when they come back because you know how to deal with them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that was put so well.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like, no, you're going to be happy and life is going to be grand and da-da-da-da. I was like, no, you're going to have
because I kind of had that
again.
animosity.
Yeah.
Not animosity. What's the word I'm looking for?
Apprehension?
Thank you. I knew it was another A word. I had that apprehension when he, in her actual session, was like, okay, you're better now. You can go. And I was worried that they were going to take it that direction where she's in a happy place in life. She's good. Shoot, go.
Right.
But then I like that they expanded upon that and said, it's not because you're happy. It's because you have learned how to work through these times.
Right. And deal with them the way that you need to.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have the tools you need to go deal with it again on your own. And if you don't,
you can come back.
Exactly. So I appreciated that approach because at first I was like,
oh no.
I don't think that's how it works.
It's not just a sticker that just goes, okay, you're all good now.
What's that? Flex tape. Works underwater. Now they have like flex roll or something. It's like that you like paint it on. It doesn't matter. The next theme, family. And so they kind of took this a couple of different ways. I feel like they really juxtaposed
the difference
HaNeul's
between
mom with JeongWoo's mom, and just the lack of love in one home versus the other. It's kind of heartbreaking. You sort of hope that there really aren't parents like that in the world, but you sort of know better.
Yeah, you know that there are.
Just so sociopathic, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, because it's not a parental-child relationship. It is.
Well, she doesn't relate to anybody.
Well, she's like, he's part of this family. The least he can do is this.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no
name.
other exception. He will do this. He will accomplish X, Y, and Z because he's part of the family. That is his expectation.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was, and then there's Wolsun, and she's like, "You poor little Bambi. Like, let me take you in from the rain and feed you and, like, warm you up. Like, you need the overflowing of affection.
Right. And I feel like in some ways she was kind of like healing his inner child.
Oh, yeah.
He never got that maternal...
anything.
No, it was all just like transactional with his mom. So I just really enjoyed her. There were times where I was very out of the gates. I was very much not sure about HaNeul's mom.
Yeah.
she's a lot. You are hard to deal with right now. But she really is just a doting mother. And they just really drive that home in this episode, in this set of episodes, I felt like. I agree. But we also have like the memorial where everyone gets together. And they very much had every right to be like, you can't come with us. This is a family thing. But they really just open their arms and bring him into their circle.
Well, and even when they have the conversation and he's like, because they're like, we're too sad on the anniversary that we can't do it. So we go during the time of year that was his favorite. And we just have the good times now. That's all we think about. We just think about, you know, those fond memories. It's not the pain and the hurt.
Right.
Anymore. Yeah, we still miss him and that still hits, but it's not the... But then, yeah, to be like, yeah, you can come along and we're going to embarrass our daughter and niece like no one's business in the car. But...
Yeah. Well, and he, in this moment, is processing his own grief with the only real family that he ever had, which was KyungMin. Yeah. Which is such a complicated relationship, which we can touch on more later. But the fact that he doesn't know how to walk through this because he's never seen healthy grieving before, or any like acknowledgement of it, because like when there was a death with KyungMin in his circle of people, he never showed it. So there was no example of that in his life. Right. And so for him to look at HaNeul's family and they're like experiencing joy in the midst of what he thinks should be a very heavy, burdensome thing to do, he's just like processing the fact that you can be sad and happy at the same time. And I think that's some of just like the whole point of the show. Yeah. Is you can be both of those things and it's okay. But it's the people around you that will make or break how you're able to walk through that. As far as like family goes, to touch back to like the KyungMin thing, it goes to show you that family can suck, but family is still family. Because I was sort of struggling with JeongWoo's approach to KyungMin's death. Yeah. Because he doesn't just like shun him. You know what I mean? But then you realize that he really did view him as family. Yeah. Like he was the only stability he had.
Yeah, because he even said he was like, this was the first person that made me a priority and would show up and like what, I'm just supposed to abandon all semblance of anything. Even though he was terrible and literally ruined my life.
But do we want to get into more... Do you have any themes that you wanted to talk about?
No, not really. Because I think even... Well, maybe more for, like, friendships. Because friendships, like, became a bigger part in these last set of episodes.
Where they sort of brought in...
Where they brought in the old friends and... Yeah. Well, yeah, even HongRan, like, she was actually being a good friend. Like, she's been kind of iffy for most of the show.
She really has.
We're just like, she's like, yeah, I just didn't want to talk about it because I figured you didn't want to talk about it. Okay, but when your friend told you that she was depressed, you also were like, yeah, everybody gets depressed. So, like, she was a bit much for a while. But, you know, of stepping up and being like, no, like, I care about you a lot. But then her friendship with DaeYoung and being like, no, I do care about you, like, a lot as a person. Like, you are a great friend. And when she hands over the last 2 SOS stickers and it's just like, oh, I can't just
call you
up and be like, hey, can I have you help me with whatever. I just want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But even DaeYoung and JeongWoo, like they were the
bromance I was waiting for, man.
We need a good bromance in every show we watch.
It's a mandatory thing now.
But yeah, BaDa I feel like would be like in between the friend and the family with JeongWoo, especially like towards the end when he was like, it's like episode 15 or 16, and he's like, can you buy me some food? And like, hey,
what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine.
What's mine is mine. Also, can you wire me, what was it, 50,000 won? Mm-hmm. Here's my account number.
Send it to this bank.
But he, like, their relationship definitely became more than just being friends and being more, this is now my little brother.
Little brother, yeah, for sure.
Always obnoxious.
Yeah. I love that there was sort of this element of, sorry, there is something in my eyeball. I love that there's this dynamic between JeongWoo, HaNeul, and BaDa where they're all almost sort of like siblings together. Mm-hmm. Not so much like HaNeul and JeongWoo, but they did have that rivalry that sort of mirrors like a sibling relationship.
Right.
That sort of just makes it all like cute because the kids are fighting again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just all really comfortable with each other.
Because on more than one occasion, HaNeul has dragged her brother out.
Yeah,
that is enough.
Air punched in the bathroom while he slanders her in front of her boyfriend. Any more themes?
I don't think so. I think it's probably more storyline that we can...
Yeah, let's jump into storyline.
We get the background for KyungMin, because that was a really big storyline part to finally like get any information on, because we didn't really know how they became, best friends. Frenemies. And and even feeding into like understanding why JeongWoo really doesn't care to talk to his parents,
right?
Because his mom is
a psycho, horrible.
And she even tells KyungMin, like, the only reason I'm hiring you is because you had a recommendation from a colleague that I respect. But you didn't go to, like, what was that? Hankook University. So, like, usually I only hire from, somebody who's gone to school there. So, also, here's your money. I doubled it so you have motivation. And I was like, wow.
As he was trying to ask to go care for his father. Yeah. Who is in a time of crisis. And she's like, no, it's CSAT time.
It's in 3 weeks. Like, no. Yeah, she was just horrible. And for HaNeul to tell him this is what he told me of why he did what he did. And I loved her commentary on that of he knew that JeongWoo had done nothing to him. And that doesn't give him the excuse. He felt this, but that was just his own self-loathing. He did this and this. Like, you can use whatever excuse you want, but you still were a terrible person.
Yes.
Like, you decided to do X, Y, and Z. You decided to drug him, and he almost died. And then, show up to his graduation, and here's a suit. And, like, you were such a conflicting person with your actions towards this kid who does nothing but look up to you and respect you because...
he was an easy target is what it kind of was.
Yeah. So that was just a very... I mean, we finally get the background behind it, and it almost is worse than...
it really is.
Than, like, any of his other, like, crap that he went through, which was all terrible.
Because it was so methodical.
Yeah. Because it wasn't... I don't know if he, like, even said it outright of, like, what he did to me... like, knowing that he did this on purpose is worse than losing my clinic and going through a trial. And, like, that betrayal was worse than anything I've just gone through.
The thing is that it wasn't ever about JeongWoo. No. It was only ever about getting back at his mother.
Yeah.
And the only thing that he could do about it was taking away her pride and joy, which was her son. And at the end of the day, I don't know that she really cared. It was just to keep up appearances.
Right.
if you don't meet this standard, then you're really not my kid, not my problem anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
But KyungMin's father ends up ODing on Ambien I think it's that night.
Yeah, that he had called and was drunk and was driving.
Mm-hmm.
Trifecta.
And on drugs.
Terrible.
KyungMin, he confesses to JeongWoo all of this that has happened. Because, right, he
confesses it to HaNeul first.
Right, he did that in the car.
Right.
But he asks to see
JeongWoo.
because he's like, I can see what's happening to my body. I know I'm in multi-organ failure. I'm going to die soon. I need to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I was always torn between my love for you and hating your family. And like, what a whoa.
Then don't talk to him anymore.
Not only that, you're like profiteering off of this super corrupt like facility that is dealing on the illegal drug market. Yeah, just kind of insane. I think I skipped all of my 13 notes.
That's because it's kind of like beginning and end of 13 and part of 14 for KyungMin.
Nope, I 100% skipped to my 14 notes. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No.
Oh my gosh, I skipped the whole part where HaNeul's in the hospital.
I was gonna go back to that. Because that's when it... so she's in the hospital from the car accident, and she's unconscious still, like, because she's had a concussion, and so they're like, you need to wait for her to have time to heal so she can wake up. Because this is when JeongWoo steps up and is like, okay, we're gonna go. This is what's happening. And it, like, breaks everything down into layman's terms so that her family is not going, what?
Yeah.
What is going on?
But he's also shouldering most of the stress because he is also withholding his own apprehensions. Because he's like, she should be awake by now, and she's not.
Like, I know this.
Yeah. But he doesn't ever put that on, like, the family or anything like that, which would be hard. But it's his job.
Yeah.
But when it's women you love, I don't know. But I really like the conversation because TaeSeon and HaNeul's mom stay at the hospital, and then BaDa and JeongWoo go back to get clothes.
Yes.
And they have this really really heartfelt, like, conversation.
Right.
And we really see BaDa kind of be vulnerable for the first time, I think. Because he's a younger brother. He doesn't really dig into the emotions very often. But he really just expresses how he just has this guilt about not being a better brother, and how he should have done more to, like, ease her burdens because she's worked so hard. And then JeongWoo's like, you're fine. Have some spending money. Go get something. And he refuses the money, which is, like, his whole MO this entire show. And so JeongWoo's like, I get what you're trying to do, but you need to eat. Your family needs to eat. Go get something. Just, it's fine.
Like,
Let me take care of you in this moment. It's all good.
I'll make you pay me back in some form or fashion.
Eventually. I'll come to collect.
Well, yeah, because then while she's still unconscious, he has to go back to work. And when the teacher, like, his former teacher comes in for, like, a checkup, he hands him this note, and it's the note that HaNeul had written in high school, because he picked it up off the hallway floor, and he was like...
When they'd been in the nurse's
station, and he was like, this is, this was for you. And basically she's just telling him, like, let's keep our heads up. Like, we can do this. And because then he goes through that, he finally breaks down, because he's like, well, I don't have the whole family here. I'm losing it, but I still feel comforted because I have this piece.
Yeah, and he sort of
our history.
Realizes that she has been cheering for him from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though they had a weird way of showing it. She actually showed genuine concern for him, which he did not think he had from anyone whatsoever. But as he's reading the note, he gets word that she's awake.
Yeah.
And he goes to her and he confesses his love.
Finally, and it was so cute. But I really liked that. I really liked when he finally sees that she's awake and he goes, I didn't ever know what love was, but I know that I love her. Like, she's more than a friend. She's more than a romantic partner. Like, that's just the person I love. And I was like, that was so, it was so sweet because for not having an example and not knowing, but being like, this is my person.
Yeah.
Like, I need nothing else.
And not only not having the example, but being betrayed by the one person that you thought was this stable thing in your life. And still being willing to go there. Pretty...
It was just so sweet.
I applaud him.
Other story points, otherwise we're going to get stuck in this episode.
I know. But the family is arguing over who should stay and who should go. And JeongWoo's like, yeah, just go. And so they go up to the rooftop, and then he's like, moment alone. DaeYoung and HongRan show up, and he's like, what are we, the Power Rangers? Why do we keep assembling like this?
That was so good.
That was hilarious.
And I just love that DaeYoung is...
He's like,
totally, he's like... saying, wow, I was praying that you would wake up and recover, and I just love you with all of my heart. And he goes, are you a poet now?
Yeah.
Like...
Get away from my woman.
You've been here a minute. It's time for you to leave.
But they leave the girls to, chat, and they go downstairs, and we get the idea that JeongWoo doesn't know that KyungMin was involved. But the night of the surgery, he saw on the surgery board that KyungMin's name was there, so he suspected something had happened. He just couldn't get the details from HaNeul yet. But her mom shows up and shoos JeongWoo away with lunch because he has to go to work. And we learn that KyungMin is currently in the ICU with multi-organ failure. Jumped the gun on that one.
Well, that was kind of just a big story point that was just like...
Because we didn't know if he was dead, alive, okay, or anything.
Yeah.
But we jump back to the clinic, and at DaeYoung's clinic, and we learned that JeongWoo's female colleagues all knew about their relationship this whole time. And that was so cute.
And they're like, yeah, I picked up when they kept sneaking off to the stairwell.
I picked it up when she, gave him the omelet at lunch one time, or one of the nurses said that.
Yeah, when he tried to take the omelet after saying, you need work done.
You need work done. And she's just like, yeah, ouch.
I saw you getting yelled at.
But as they're talking, the sketchy anesthesiologist shows up and wants to talk to JeongWoo. And so they go to, a cafe. And he says the same thing to JeongWoo that he had said to KyungMin. And he's like, I gave the police 6 cameras. There was a 7th. And JeongWoo's reaction is, you need to go to the police with that. Why did you not disclose this before? And he goes... And that's a normal reaction. And that's not what KyungMin did. I just wanted to see what you were going to say. Because I suspect that he had something to hide.
Yeah, is way more involved. Because then we actually get that confirmation from the detective who HaNeul had seen before she got in the car with KyungMin. And that was almost worse than him finding out she was in the car accident. Was him listening to it, because he's hearing basically the love of his life confronting the person that he had always trusted and being like, were you involved with this? Was your company involved? What did he ever do to you that would warrant this type of behavior? And then listens to the crash and he's just going this is all my fault.
Awful. Well, and I think part of him is, they touch on this later, but he's just upset that she endangered herself on his behalf. Because he's told her so many times, would you stop freaking doing that? Stop going out of your way to make your life worse for me.
I don't like it.
It's not helping my stress levels, woman.
I'm about to lose my hair.
It's beautiful, beautiful hair.
Beautiful hair.
But he goes to her and he's like, what the freak, man? This is not okay. And he storms out on her because he is just that upset. And it's not really at her so much as it just is with the fact that his situation put her in that position to feel like she needed to do that. And it's all
without
just so
telling
overwhelming.
him.
Yeah. But as she's sitting there kind of just like taken aback by it all, there's a flower delivery guy who shows up and he hands her a note. And it exactly mirrors the note that she had written to him in the nurse's station back in high school. And it says, what does it say? Like, you should be strong and I'll be strong.
We're both going to be okay.
We're going to be okay, yeah. And she realizes he's doing this because he loves her. And so she goes to him. And he's like crying in the courtyard. It was very sad.
It was so sad.
And there's this beautiful rain and sunshine coming down. But they kind of come to grips with what had happened, and she says to him that she had gone from accepting death that day, like that first episode, when that truck was the white truck of doom was gonna take her out, and she's just like,
let it.
All right, that's fine with me. I'm exhausted and life sucks. To in the car with KyungMin, where she said, the only thing I could think about was wanting to tell you that I loved you. And so she goes from accepting death to wanting to live for love. And I think that was
a big moment.
A big moment
for her,
for both of them. Yeah.
Let's see, do we need to jump to the next episode, or are we in episode 14 yet?
Yeah, but you probably want to talk about JeongWoo going to see
KyungMin
and dying.
Well, yeah, so, because, we kind of touched on that, where he goes to see KyungMin, and he's like, he gets to take out his anger, and KyungMin's like, please take out your anger on me. Like, I deserve all of it, basically. But in almost like a pitying way, so it still made him so unlikable. Because he was like, it was
his closure, so he could die, basically.
Yeah.
Which JeongWoo does not give him.
Well, because he apologizes to JeongWoo, and he's just like, dude, I don't know how to forgive you. Like, and he's like, doesn't he say, like, you don't have to?
Yeah, I don't want you to.
Yeah, I don't want you to
forget about me and go live your life.
Like, I want you to move on from this. And then tells him goodbye. And so when he comes out of the ICU, he's just like, I can't forgive him. Like, the idea of it is too much. And HaNeul's like, don't. He did terrible things to you. You don't have to do that. And part of me, like, I totally am like, yeah, I can get behind that of like, you got to feel what you're feeling right now because this is so horrible. And then the other part of me, which it does get addressed later, of like, you don't forgive for the other person. You forgive for you, but you have to figure out how to get to that point first. Immediately after he's telling you all of these things is not the time to even be thinking about that you have too much to...
It was brutal because
it was really harsh.
He, like... KyungMin knew he was about to die, like, in that moment. Which, first of all, I'm like, your blood pressure was, like, freaking the freak out. There would have been so many... You're in the ICU. There would have been so many nurses in your room in that moment.
Right.
Telling JeongWoo to get out because he's upsetting the patient. But JeongWoo knew what was happening. KyungMin knew what was happening. And JeongWoo literally left him there to die alone.
He did. He stormed out.
And crying. Because he's like, I'm not going to give this to you. That was brutal.
It was really harsh.
I have mixed feelings.
Yeah. That's like part of me can understand of like you're getting slapped in the face with all of this, but also like
yeah, it was. I struggled with that one.
It was a lot.
And the fact that he's sitting there flatlining and there's literally no nurses in any vicinity, I'm like, okay, this is not a doctor drama. It is a romance drama. All right. But moving on to episode 14 before So KyungMin is implicated and JeongWoo's name is cleared.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've kind of hit an interesting, like, flip-flop where... I don't know what I was going to say. I just had a brain fart.
Yeah, was it about his mom?
No,
about
not
JeongWoo's
yet.
mom?
Not yet.
Okay.
But HaNeul is discharged as well from the hospital. We learn it's been about 3 weeks since she was first admitted. But the chief of anesthesiology speaks with her and apologizes. I didn't see what was going on, but thank you for exposing the corruption in this department, and we would really love it if you would come back and work for us to help recoup our reputation in the community.
Right.
She's like, not sure. Which, fair.
I need to think about this for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. But she's offered full-time assistant professor, which was like her career dream.
Mm-hmm.
But we see DaeYoung, and hang on. So JeongWoo goes to visit the nurse in prison, the one who had
was part of the whole scandal.
Yeah, helped to
with the heparin
murder the woman from the casino or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And she shares with him, because he's like, I just need to know one thing. What was on the note that KyungMin passed to you? And she says, it was warning me to not use too much heparin in the procedure because there might be an accident. And I didn't understand that scene because I thought that undermined, like, the whole... He was trying to get back at JeongWoo. So is it like he had remorse?
Well, it was supposed, like, part of it was like when he was telling HaNeul about everything, he didn't know what clinic it was going to be at because he was involved with all of this.
Right, and
because it was the stock manipulation and everything. And then he learned it was going to be at JeongWoo's clinic. And he is like, I don't want somebody to die. Like, death is a little too much.
Right, he tried to pump the brakes, but he was in too deep.
Right, yeah. Because that's what he tells JeongWoo. He's like, I tried to stop it, but I was in too deep. And he was like, how dare you? Like, tell me you were in too deep. Like,
somebody died brutally.
It was a horrific, like, moment. So I think that's why they put that in there, because there was the video footage of him passing that note, and so
yeah. I was trying to make heads or tails of it because I didn't know if it was sort of supposed to, like, justify that he truly did care about him,
or if it was just to
make him feel better about the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know exactly. But as he's leaving the jail, JeongWoo's mom calls him, and he asks her point blank. He's like, "Did you know that KyungMin's father had passed away?" She's like, "Of course I did, but I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to be distracted from your CSATs, because God forbid you don't become a doctor. You shameful little
lazy child."
And that just confirms to him he wants nothing to do with his parents anymore.
Yeah, I'm busy.
We never see the father, which is interesting, but it tracks.
That sounds about right.
For
yeah.
His family. But HaNeul says that the world is different. It's been 3 weeks. She's like, KyungMin's gone.
Right.
Summer is over. Everything is different now. And she meets up with JeongWoo, and she makes a comment. Because they both just had terrible days, or weird days, right? Because she is given this job opportunity that she doesn't know whether or not she should take. And JeongWoo just had this terrible interaction with the nurse and then his mom. Mother. And neither of them will say anything to each other about it. And we're back to freaking square one, people. Like, the reason you got to this point is because you won't talk about your feelings. Like, what was it all for? What was it all for? I just put ... bruh. Bruh. But
let me give you your box. Here you go.
Thank you. They still had their sadness from one another. Like, what is the point of a relationship if not to, like, share in these moments? Like, yeah, you have the happy times, but the point that you really start to grow as they they showed with this whole story is that when you go through tough times, that's the refiner's fire. That's when you actually, like, bond with people.
Right.
So the fact that they just won't, like...
talk about their own problems with each other because they don't want to burden each other.
And, like, frankly, in the grand scheme of everything that happened, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not that big of a problem to be like, my mom sucks. Yeah, we know. We know your mom sucks. Well, this nurse helped kill... Yeah, we know about the nurse they helped kill. So, I'm sorry.
I'm going to take my box.
I'm sure I'll need it back again eventually.
All right. So they go to Busan to go visit the memorial for HaNeul's dad. And
HaNeul's dead.
HaNeul's dead.
Dead.
So yeah, they go to Busan, and on the road trip, Wolsun is too much, as she does all the time, HaNeul's mom, and ends up spilling an entire bottle of alcohol all over him in the car. So he has to wear some of BaDa's workout clothes, which are actually like clothes for
like judo or
kendo.
Something. Yeah.
And so he's like, I think I just need to go buy my own clothes.
They're like, no, you're fine.
So they finally make their way to the graveside, basically, and that's when they're like, we don't go on the anniversary because it's too sad. We go when it was his favorite time of year because we have the happy memories now. We go out to eat. We do all of these things together. You know, we go to the restaurant that, you know, he always liked to go to. We see the moments of Wilson getting ice cream afterwards, because that was what her and her husband always used to do after they would go drinking, is they would have ice cream, and just that was their special thing that they did. And now JeongWoo got to be part of it, and he's like, I should have stayed home. And they're like, no, like, it's totally fine. Like, he would have loved you. And just like, you're already ours, so just
accept it.
Just deal. This is where we're at now.
Well, and his whole purpose for even wanting to go and kind of inserting himself into the trip was because he's avoiding his parents.
He doesn't want to
deal
with them at all.
Yeah, and they're like, where are you? Where are you? We want to see you. And he's like, nope, I don't like you.
I have a conference.
Yeah, and so that's kind of that really beautiful moment that he has with HaNeul's mom.
Oh, that was...
It was just a very poignant, I don't know, just a very poignant moment for him, because, like I said, his mom is being so just like callous about everything. And so for him to experience someone crying on his behalf and telling him he did okay was so transformative for him, I think. And it wasn't in a like a peer way, or
like when HaNeul cried for him.
Right. It's I'm a mom, you're a baby. Let me like wrap my wings around you for just a half second.
Right. Because they're sitting on a bench, and he asks her, because he starts crying, and he's like, is it okay that I feel conflicted? Like, yesterday I wanted to forgive him, and today the idea, like, is the worst idea ever. And, like, he was there for me when nobody else was. He didn't forget me, like, but he did so many terrible things. And he's like, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. And I think that's really, like, the first time we've actually seen JeongWoo do that, even, of, like, I'm drowning. Like, please, like, and being willing to, like, nobody's having to, like, break that wall down. Just being like, I need somebody to pull me out of this. And when she grabs his hand and tells him, you forgive someone not for their sake, but for yours. Hating someone takes too much from you and it hurts you. Time will help. I think in the whole show, that is the moment that I cried the first time I watched it. And even this time around, like, I cried again, because I was just like, that relationship that he's now formed of, like, this is my mom.
Yeah.
And she's, like, telling him, like, it will be okay. Like, you have time, and that's really what you need.
Yeah. And
it will be okay. But I was like, yeah, that's the one that made me cry again this time around too. And I was like, well, it's fine. It was just so sweet.
It was very sweet. But that's also the moment where we learned that he did go to KyungMin's memorial. And so I think there's a part of him that wants to just forgive and be able to let it go. But again, it's such a large betrayal that he's really struggling with what to do with all of the feelings he's feeling.
There's too many of them.
But HongRan and DaeYoung have gone to a sauna.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they're doing all the cutesy things that I was talking about earlier. Where I jumped the gun a little bit. And then, they have the little reach around moment, and they go back to her house, and she's like, here's the stickers. And he's like, oh man, now we don't have the excuse. And she's like, do you want to stay for tea? And he's like, she goes, I have way too many tea bags. He goes, oh, well, we can't have that, right?
That's a problem.
Very cute. But we see, the flashback to graduation for JeongWoo,
mm-hmm.
where KyungMin had brought the flowers, brought the suit that he had promised just a matter of days after his own father had died.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of the lens that JeongWoo was choosing to view him through at this point, is as a doting older brother who didn't want to burden him with his own pain.
Yeah.
And I think that's who KyungMin strived to be. He just got poisoned by JeongWoo's mom in some weird sort of way.
Went the wrong way.
But we have the job offer and the acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
Which I have a weird soapbox about that, because
we need to get a box.
Kim's soapbox.
No, just music. Soapbox, and then we can just be like, okay, that's
milk crate. She was so mad at him that she broke up with him when he kept his job opportunity from her out of consideration for her feelings. She does the exact same thing, and it's like, okay now? Like, you feel me? You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I think he knew. I think she told him.
On the river, yeah, but she didn't tell him at first until she had already talked to her uncle and was going to take it.
Well, yeah, because her uncle was like, you need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
But do you remember that? Where he was going to not take a job out of consideration for her. And she got so mad she broke up with him. And then, like, it's the reverse situation, and she's just like, oh, this is fine. I'll keep it from you. Like, have we really grown, or are we just not as sad as we were at the beginning of the show?
I think we're just not as sad.
Okay, just checking. Just making sure it's not me.
Because there's other things that she grows in, and then there's other things where you're just like, okay, clearly JeongWoo's the bigger person in this.
Yeah.
To be hype for you and be like, no, I think this is a great thing. I think you should do it. Like, this is what you want. It just will suck not seeing you at work every day.
We see her step into this professorship role, like, with gusto, and she's back to being a comfort to patients and not coming home until 3 a.m. And oh my gosh, this has turned JeongWoo's world upside down, because they literally spent every moment with each other for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
They didn't have jobs, so they just went to the arcade, or they'd go eat something, or they play video games together, and he has this void in his life, and he's like, let me make some dumplings.
Let me clean my house. Like, take everything out of the refrigerator.
Wash the windows and iron my underwear. With a heart. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I am...
Oh, man.
Dying. Yeah.
But he finally realizes... Well, first he gets a call. Mm-hmm. He just won, like, $14 million back in settlement money that he had paid out. And... he kind of comes to the realization, I am never going to see my girlfriend unless I meet her where she's at. Yeah. So they're like talking in her office, and he goes, I just needed to talk to you about something. And she's like preparing, because she's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna give me, like, he's gonna propose to me. And he's like, here's a case study.
Here's a picture.
Yeah. But he wants to do a surgery with her. Mm-hmm. And this gives her... I thought this was really cool. This finally buys into, like, her ideal relationship, right? Because she had said, I want someone who will sit and read dissertations with me. I want someone who's going to, like,
get into
talk
case
about
studies and
exactly. And this is that moment where he's like, I can do that with you. Like, I'm
let's do this
a
together.
very capable doctor, and this is something that you want. I can do that.
Right.
Because she's been doing all the things he likes to do, right? And so I thought that was kind of a neat moment for them as a couple. My dog is digging at the carpet.
Yeah, a way to spend time together, but it's also like their jobs and like doing what they're good at and what they enjoy and why they got into the professions they got into.
Right. To take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
But we learned that he actually had bought the ring and he wanted to give it to her one of the nights that they were working on this case together.
Do we need to backtrack just a touch to the farewell dinner before she starts her professor?
Yes, question mark? Wait, where's the farewell dinner? That's the next...
That's right after she tells him about it. So they're at a farewell dinner for her with the whole
what is happening?
Clinic, right? And HongRan calls HaNeul and is like, hey, I have a cake for you. And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll step out and pick it up. And she's, tells him like, do you mind if I step out real quick? She brought me a cake. I'm only accepting it on her behalf. I feel really uncomfortable about it anyway. And DaeYoung's like, you should just tell her to join us. Like,
yeah,
come sit and eat with us. Like, please do. And so then JeongWoo was like, yeah,
he clocks it.
Do it. Like, let's go. Bring her in. And so then she happily inserts herself. And because HongRan's just that kind of person, she's like, yeah, I'll make friends wherever I'm at. And she doesn't know that the whole office knows about JeongWoo and HaNeul's relationship. So she tries to cover for them when he's being sweet to HaNeul. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, we already know.
Yeah.
And then one of the nurses asks, do we, have another potential couple in the office?
This goes so poorly.
And DaeYoung and HongRan immediately look at each other and he's just like shaking his head like, no, I promise, it's not true. It's not me. Because the rest of the staff wonders if DaeYoung and Nurse Do, which is like, was the first person he had in his clinic, if they're, into each other. And he's like, no, like, we used to work together, like, we're more like siblings. She just, she's like, yeah, but I quit right after you did. And he was like, yeah, only because I promised you more money. Like, not because you like me. And he starts to, like, panic. And they're like, because he was like, even if we were on an island, it was just the two of us, like, we wouldn't develop feelings. And she just goes, well, I don't know, maybe. Like,
if it was truly
just the two of us.
Island.
Like, and so, like, the rest of the nurses are like, we got a couple.
Confirmed.
And so when HongRan is leaving and DaeYoung's trying to catch up with her to be like, I promise there is nothing going on. Like, I like you. Nurse Do comes along to, like, give him, like, his keys or something. And she catches her foot in a hole that I think would be pretty much a trope as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And falls. Quote, falls. Big ol' kiss on the cheek.
Oh
and
gosh.
The shock on his face and HongRan's face, I think, is one of the best, like, interactions that they have, because they're both just like...
He was mid-confession, and she was finally feeling it, too.
Yeah.
He's like, I only spend my weekends on you.
Mm-hmm.
I only eat dinner with you. And she's like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And he's like, I like you. Why are we not dating? And then, like, as he's saying that...
Smooch.
Ow. Fine.
So that was a very entertaining...
That was hilarious.
...moment.
Relationships. Let's start with JeongWoo and HaNeul's family again.
Okay. I think I said earlier, I love the brother relationship that forms with BaDa and JeongWoo. Like, they really are, like, liking to hang out with each other more and just...
Casual.
Yeah, and just, like, being informal.
I feel that with TaeSeon too, though. I think all three of them really have this nice dynamic.
Right, like making the dumplings together, and they're just like,
Yeah.
bro, don't take it out on the dough.
Or eating tteokbokki.
Mm-hmm.
And he's explaining everything that happened. He's like, I got a ring, but then I dropped it on the floor. And they're like, yeah, you can't give her a dusty ring. You better get her a bracelet. And he's
No,
like,
DaeYoung told him to get a bracelet.
DaeYoung told him to get a bracelet. And they're like, yeah, she's not really into bracelets. She pawned off the last one. And
Pada
pawned it.
Pada pawned it, and his mom beat him for it.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay, so Pada pawned it, and like she didn't care. And so
Say Pada pawned it like 4 times fast.
Pada. Anyway, so he like sprints out the door and goes and gets a necklace. And by the end of it, he's gotten a tiara, earrings, a necklace, a bracelet, ring, and a ring. He makes her wear all of it. Anyway,
that was amazing.
Okay, I didn't mean to rabbit trail like that. But yeah, I love that all three of them really just have this super close relationship where
it's not the bromancy that we have with DaeYoung, but it's like
they're like family. They freely talk about HaNeul, and like at no point has any of the things that JeongWoo has been worried about saying about HaNeul to like her mom or to her uncle or to her brother has it ever like blown back on him in a negative way, except for the time they thought that he was sleeping with another woman. They were all pissed about that.
Right.
But then they find out about it and they're like,
oh, okay, cool.
Oh, you.
So, don't mind the knowing looks that we're all gonna share. But we also mentioned it earlier of JeongWoo and Woolsun, HaNeul's mom, of she has become his mom.
Yeah.
Like completely. Like, I'm struggling. I need advice, and she's just being mama bird and just like, come to me, my child. Let me just love you.
Yeah.
Because you're a lovable kid.
It's so funny how I don't think she's ever. Never mind, I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay, fair.
I had a mini stroke. Next, let's do JeongWoo and his parents.
Nothing ever changed.
It got worse.
It was like
it somehow got worse than it already was.
They were terrible, and then they got worse, which was astounding and impressive.
Really truly was, especially considering we don't even know who the dad is. Do we know who the daddy is? No, we don't. I don't think we've ever seen him.
No.
But we just assume by
association
that he's not a great guy.
I'm pretty sure the only reason that they had a child was because it was the right thing to do.
Their beautiful genes onto the next generation and grace
you
the
will
world
be
with their
intelligent
perfection.
and
Yeah. You will be a robot. I just don't understand how you reach that level of success in that industry without caring for people. That just seems so
probably not
counterintuitive.
caring about people itself, it's caring about the accolades that go with it.
I know, but how do you like find the drive to actually be that good?
I have no idea.
I guess I watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. There was a lot of narcissism there too. Anyway, KyungMin and JeongWoo. This is a big one.
Okay, because I've already seen this before, I want to know what your initial reactions were for that.
I think up until the very last episode, like the very last half of the episode, I didn't necessarily understand JeongWoo's struggle with like forgiving and moving on, and why it was so difficult for him to wrestle with wanting to forgive him. I don't think it was till the very end that I realized that was his family.
Yeah.
He never had a mother or a father, and never had true friends that he felt like he could rely on other than KyungMin. KyungMin felt like the one stabilizing point in his life.
Yeah.
And so the love was real. The betrayal was real. Like, those were both equally
intense.
Yes. And so for him to try to reconcile those two things, he can't. He doesn't know how to. I don't think any of us would.
Well, especially with no example, and then KyungMin being his only example of conceal, don't feel. Literally, we're Elsa here.
Yeah. I just think that in the end, and I kind of said this earlier, your family is your family. Your family's going to do sucky things. Maybe not accidentally murdering somebody on your surgery table. Terrible, but high stakes here.
Right.
I think at the end of it, he saw him as family, and it was first and foremost his family, even though he got caught up in the wrong things.
Yeah.
And when he tried to backpedal, it didn't really work, and so he got scared and just ditched out. But yeah, I think that the relationship there was like 90% good, 10% bad, but the 10% was like
real bad.
The damning part.
Yeah.
So
like we have now lit the building on fire. Bad.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Poured kerosene on it, and but
I would agree.
What about you?
Yeah, I think especially like until you learn how deeply he was involved with everything, you're like, oh no, this is somebody who just cares about JeongWoo. Like, he is there for him. He's, got his back. Maybe he's a little sketchy, with like HaNeul, like, but then you find out like, no, he's not just sketchy. He's just straight up terrible.
Yeah.
And he's very good at being slick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that probably is the other part for JeongWoo to be like, not only did you ruin my life, like you ruined multiple people's lives here.
Yeah. You're a master manipulator.
And so I think that probably had something to do with it, but still knowing like this was my family. Like this is.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate the fact that they had his character go to the memorial to be like, you know what? I'm paying my final respects. I don't have to deal with you anymore. I don't have to think about you. When I get to the point where I can forgive you, I'll get there. But until that time, like I don't have to touch that. Yeah. So.
What about let's do HongRan and DaeYoung.
Well, let's say because now we can like get into more of the ends of the episodes now of after the initial kiss on the cheek from his nurse. Not so good. I like that when she reaches out to HaNeul and is like, I need a friend right now. Mm-hmm. And they learn what happens, but that is the person she still calls drunk is DaeYoung. I'm like, I could just like, this is a reliable person. And then their fight over them of who's the most pathetic. We can get into that later. But I really like that they have the moment where they're sitting on the bench and like, he's like, why can't we just figure this out? Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the first real conversation that they have. Yes, she's not exactly with it, but she's with it enough to be like, this is how I view dating. And this is why I view dating this way, because, she had already told him about her divorce and why she got divorced. Mm-hmm. Of her husband started to expand his business and then cheated on her with an employee while she was pregnant. And so she was like, get out, goodbye. Mm-hmm. And so like he already knows her insecurities with that. So when he's coming alongside and being like, why can't we just do this? Like, I'm not promising that I won't, like, I'm not promising perfection because I'm not, but like, I want to be there. Like, I want to be part of your life. I want to be part of your son's life. And to then like not talk for a while, because obviously she was a bit drunk, so she wasn't 100. And I love when he's typing out 3 different ideas of what he wants to say to her.
Yeah. Pulls a what's wrong with Secretary Kid.
Literally, except to his daughter, and just like, HongRan, I like you, please accept my love. And I was like, that is the best way to do it. Just be like, this is
straight to the point.
We don't need your
wordsmithing
paragraph or 3 different paragraphs that you've attempted. So I enjoy, like...
Excuse you.
Well, but I enjoy that they finally, like, actually have real conversations, and it's not just about their kids or their friends, and they figure out how to just enjoy each other.
It was interesting watching DaeYoung use the children as an excuse in the sense that he wanted to be closer to her, and HongRan using the kids as an excuse, as in, oh, I didn't really like you, I just needed the help with my kid. And that it's always so funny to me because she would always use him as a shield, like,
Right.
I wasn't the one who needed you, it was him. That's fine, you can go. We don't need you anymore, it's okay. Because she wanted to keep that distance, right? So he was that buffer for her. And then he was like, yeah, I used the kid. Let's put the kid over here now, and I want you. And she was like, no, bring the kid back. So I just thought that was kind of funny how it was the kids that brought them together, but just how you know, that game of cat and mouse happened around the children. Yeah.
Without ever making it, like, in any capacity for the kids to be, like...
uncomfortable or...
why am I being used? Or even noticing that they're being used.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Except the teenage daughter, but that's because she's a teenager and she's...
Well, I thought it was interesting how, like, all of the relationship stuff was around the son. And we really never see HongRan interact with the daughter, except for maybe one time? Did we? I don't know if
I don't think she ever directly,
them.
but she was like... She's... Because his daughter asks, like, was she the one who...
had the macaron.
got the macarons, you know, said to up my allowance.
I don't know why I said it that way.
Macaron.
Macaron. I don't know. It's fine. Whoa.
Oh, wow. But I feel like that just... It was a very well... like, well written in that aspect, to be like, the kids aren't necessarily the pawns, but they are just enough to...
They're not weaponized, but they are used.
They are definitely used.
JeongWoo and HaNeul. Whoa.
Other than the moment that they have after she gets out of the hospital of, like, I'm going to keep everything to myself again, which was... you already had your box on there. I really think they did grow pretty well. Like, in the hospital when he's actually upset. And he's a little upset with her because, like...
To me, it was
you
more
didn't
the
tell
protector.
me. Right, but, like, you didn't tell me. Like, bring me in on this. Like, for your sake, bring me in on this. And he's upset. Not angry at her specifically, but he's upset. And that's the first, like, fight that we see them have. I say fight, but it wasn't like a...
I don't know.
Screaming fight. But it was a fight to a...
Because he sure yelled at her in the alley that one day.
Oh, yeah. But they weren't dating.
Yeah, technically they weren't.
They'd
weren't
already
broken up. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a different... Also, I feel like that one was pretty darn justified about that.
Yeah.
But to then send her flowers and be like, we're going to be okay.
Well, he'd already sent the flowers before the fight, so I don't know if it counts, but yeah.
But because when she goes to talk to him,
yeah,
like, he's already, like...
chilled out,
but it was just like, you're the one I care about. Like, you can't just...
get in the car with strange men who run into trucks twice. Not once, but twice.
Almost run into... Well, the white truck of doom technically hit them. But...
twice.
Because then as the show ends, and she's offered the position to go abroad, she does tell him, like, as soon as she's had the conversation, which I guess that was a growth moment from not telling him about getting the job.
Yeah.
To, like, being like, okay, I just left this meeting and they want me to go do this. And he's obviously not into it because he starts cutting his plate and not the steak and drinking out of the vase instead of his glass. to then when he has all these plans of like, okay, this is how much we're going to do before you leave. And they have another party singing more songs.
Awful.
But
with the face cake.
With the face cake. But sees the text saying, I'm sorry that this got canceled for you. And he helps her save face, at least for the time being.
Mm-hmm. When it would have been really embarrassing to have to admit to everyone that...
Like, oh, by the way,
yeah,
I'm not going anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, so she's like, I'm still gonna tell them, but at least it's not like a, in that moment.
Yeah.
Terrible, awkward, no fun.
Let's move on to things we hated. I had a lot.
Go for it.
As you can tell from my soapboxes. Episode 13, I didn't really like that HaNeul sort of encouraged him to delay forgiveness.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Just maybe it was just the way that she phrased it, but it's like, don't delay it. Like, process what you're feeling, feel the things you're feeling, and then, like I agree you shouldn't say it in an empty way. Like, you shouldn't say you forgive someone and then harbor like that bitterness in your heart, because that's not helping anyone.
Right. But just to tell him straight up, don't even think about forgiving him.
Yeah,
was a lot.
And I had written in my notes, this was before the conversation with her mom. I was like, I think it was like our youth pastor always used to say, like, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only gonna rot you from the inside out. And so for her to like encourage that, I was like, nah, it's not my favorite. But I knew what they were getting at, so I'll let that one go.
I won't hold on to that one. I'll forgive it.
I'll forgive it. So, then episode 14. I'm just gonna do that every single time you bump my foot. Episode 14. I was real pissed about JeongWoo's mom.
Oh, she's just the worst.
So rude about
everything.
KyungMin's situation with his dad. Episode 14 again, after JeongWoo had just left the jail, and she had just left the job offer, and they both like have silently agreed to not burden each other with their problems. And again, stupid, stupido, pabo, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we gotta stop.
Reel it back. It's almost midnight.
Hit the witching hour. You're welcome.
We haven't podcasted this late in a long time.
Like, yeah.
Anyway.
Episode 14, we talked about this already, when HaNeul had kept the job offer from JeongWoo because she's worried that he has too much to deal with. Episode 15, when he drops the ring.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get into that part, like, very much.
I died inside a little bit, because I'm like, bro, you had one job. Wasn't that hard.
You don't take it out of the box. Leave it in the box.
I know, and so he's, like, fishing for it, and she's like, oh, let me help you get the 100 won from under there, like, 10 cents, 1 cent. And as they're under there, he's like, no, it's fine. I was going to give it to you. I'm sorry. And it just isn't working out. And as they're saying this, you just see these giant cockroaches scurry out from underneath. And she gets so mad at him because instead of, like, defending her from the cockroaches, he shoves her out of the way.
But also, actually, okay, what kind of made me upset about that whole thing wasn't that.
Yeah.
It was, why does the hospital have cockroaches?
Word.
Like, that's concerning.
That's a very valid point. You make a great point.
That stresses me out.
What were you harboring under that couch that they...
Who cleaned that room before you moved into it?
And it wasn't just one. It was like 2 or 3.
It was terrifying.
They kept wandering around.
It was... No.
And they weren't normal-sized cockroaches. They were like the Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
They were like, wood cockroaches. Wood roaches.
3 inches long.
Yeah. When I lived in Africa... We had wood roaches, literally 3 inches long, like in the shower, like on the curtain. I'm like, can't really do anything about it because I'm in Africa.
Oh, I can light it on fire. I don't care.
I didn't want to burn the house down.
Oh no, the house is going. It's all going. We're going.
But I saw it and I was like, I don't need to shower today. I'm okay.
You win. And you win next time too.
Actually, I went and got one of the ladies in the house and I was like, I'm so sorry. Can you please help me?
Nope. I would have been on the next plane out of there. My family kept Madagascar hissing cockroaches as
Absolutely not.
pets. We started with 2. They proliferated. I think the most we had at any one time was like 65.
Absolutely not.
In this little like 5-gallon fish tank. And when you touched them, they went
Why would you touch them?
because you had to feed them water, so you had to like scoot them out of the way, and they were literally this big. A tank full of them. My childhood was weird, okay?
I'm so concerned right now. Okay, we're getting completely off topic. Oh, I'm so traumatized for you.
I mean, they were cool, but man, they were real gross.
There's nothing about any of those sentences that you said that equals cool. No.
Am I that weird kid that had strange pets growing up?
Yes.
Don't answer that. No, don't answer that.
You had cockroaches, I had a pet rooster. So.
I also had chickens.
But like he would sit on my shoulder.
And rats.
No. We didn't do that.
And hamsters.
My mom had pet squirrels.
And parakeets. I forgot about your pet squirrels.
They get cute. Okay.
Okay, DaeYoung in the elevator trying to tell JeongWoo to get lost, and instead he tells HongRan, and that just was an epic fail.
He doesn't tell her. He like
Yells it.
yells it. Get lost, and she's just like,
Were you talking to me?
the audacity.
And he's like, no, I wasn't talking to you. And then Nurse Doe's like, well, then you must have been talking to me. He's like, I don't know how to get out of this situation.
Please let me leave.
But
No.
then HaNeul's boss leaking the surgery to the press was infuriating to me.
That was beyond disgusting behavior.
And the fact that both of them, I was hoping they weren't going to pit HaNeul and JeongWoo against each other, because he has a history of being in the limelight for this kind of work. And so I was worried they were going to make that a point of contention, but they're both kind of with the same mindset, like, this is not what we did this for.
Right. I didn't decide to do a surgery because I got money back, just to prove a point. Like,
and I get what they were trying to do. Like, hospitals at the end of the day have to be able to make money to keep their doors open. But, like,
he doesn't actually work for you.
Yikes. It was clout chasing. And they were probably the same people, like, throwing him under the bus a month earlier.
Yeah.
Episode 15, when HongRan crashes their date and starts to complain about DaeYoung, and then the girls just, like, knock back a bottle of soju in, like, 30 seconds.
Like, each.
Yeah.
Because even Jung was like, I don't like this pace.
I know.
This pace is scary.
Every 15 seconds, huh? That's how we're gonna... Okay. All right. Well.
You want to be on the floor? That is how you do it.
And then he nurses their drunkenness with ramen.
I mean...
And then the other half of that story is on the things I loved. Episode 16. HaNeul is leaving for 6 months. Like, why? Like, why?
Why is that we're going to throw this in the last episode of the drama?
Yeah.
Behavior.
It just felt like drama for the sake of drama. I understood later a little bit more why they did it, but I was real pissed when it happened, so it went in my I hate this column. The really weird, like, lady who is mad about her eye surgery. I didn't know whether to love it or hate it, so it ended up in hate.
She was a lot.
It's really interesting. But then HongRan comes to save the day with her flying kick to the trash can. I love that
Are we doing loves now? Because I was agreeing with everything you said for hated.
And then episode 16 when the offer gets rescinded.
Yeah, that was...
From HaNeul.
a whole level of
baby rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so
funny.
dumb. So dumb.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I was agreeing with all of them.
Okay,
like,
well,
that was all.
I felt like I hijacked that one, so let's
No, go
go
for
with
it.
your loved things you loved.
Okay, I guess I should start at the top. I loved the moment between JeongWoo and BaDa when they go back to fill everything up, all the clothes and towels and things that she's gonna need, and the moment when he's taking the squirrel plushie and he just like, I'm gonna put this in the bag, like she needs her squirrel plushie. I thought that was just loved that. Or when he chased everybody out and they were coming back the next day and BaDa's like, Mom, is he gonna break up with her because she was in a car with another man? And they go to the window and drop the bag because they're just like lovey-dovey, like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. And she's like pretending to be weak so he will feed her. And they're just, BaDa's like,
this is worse.
I don't know what to do. I love that because he's just like, I'm so embarrassed. Because then they chase JeongWoo out and they're like, you have to go to work. And he goes, oh yeah, you're right. But it's precious. But then the road trip. I loved and hated everything about the road trip because JeongWoo's sitting in the middle.
He got the hump.
He got this worst place. I also get car sick, so being in the backseat period is absolute torture.
Same.
But then Wilson's just like handing him food item after food item after food item.
The weirdest. Corn on the cob in the car.
I'm kind of into that one. That seemed fine.
And then head cheese.
No.
And makgeolli.
And he's like, Mom, you're not supposed to have an open container in a car. I feel like kind of just like in general.
I didn't even think about that.
But then when they go over the speed bump and she just dumps the whole bottle of makgeolli all over him. So when he gets changed and they're in the car again, he's on the side and TaeSeon tells him, he's like, I'm sitting here so she wouldn't abuse you anymore. And HaNeul's just like, let me die. This is terrible. Because when they turn on the song and they start dancing and it's BaDa's driving and he's jamming.
I know. She's so embarrassed.
And she's just like, I need to not exist anymore.
So cute though.
And then they turn and conga. My shoulder is fine.
Are you okay?
No.
Just to be clear, no.
But like that, like all of that was just so fabulous.
Road trip
because
in
JeongWoo never had that, like that type of family experience. So he's like, okay, this is a lot, but also like, I love that I'm like part of these people.
Yeah.
And HaNeul's going,
please still love me.
I want all of you to stop. I am begging of you, stop embarrassing me. So like I really loved that one. Let's see.
I love at the gravesite when BaDa is talking to his dad and he's like, I prayed so hard for HaNeul to survive her surgery. I prayed so hard that I knew I was going to have to go to Greece to thank him personally. And they're all like, who are you talking about? And I'm thinking like he's praying to Zeus. He's like, Jesus.
He was born in Greece.
He was born in
And they're like, no.
False.
That's not correct. Please stop.
Wrong. A few miles away there, friend.
But then they tell him, fine, just leave. Please go to Greece.
It's wrong side of the Mediterranean. Oh, that was so cute.
Let's see.
To back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Episode 14, when you see like BaDa and the mom and TaeSeon. Why can't I not remember her name? Wolsan, thank you. And they're all sitting on the couch and they're discussing like, they just haven't been as happy lately and they've just seemed really tense and whatever. And maybe they're like on the verge of breakup or something like that. And you're like, are they reading into HaNeul and JeongWoo's relationship badly again? You pan out and you see HaNeul sitting on the ground. They were watching a drama on TV. It was so cute. It reminded me of Shingum-hee and Business Proposal.
Yes.
But I thought that was a clever little bit because that's all that those three would do is
wonder
comment
about their relationship.
Yeah, comment on their relationship and be totally off base. So it fit really well.
I really loved when one of the friends comes to see JeongWoo and apologizes to him. And he goes, I've been wanting to reach out. I just didn't know if you would be okay if I were to come, like, in front of you. Mm-hmm. But HaNeul called me, and she was really drunk, and she was like, you need to go apologize. So that's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I will get on my knees. Like, I'm so sorry for the things that I said, for everything. I'm so sorry. And he's like, okay, like, I accept your apology. Like, okay. And then goes down the stairs and gets a phone call from the hospital. And it was like, yeah, you know, the interview that we had talked about and the picture, like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Like, Professor Nam called us and told us that you both would be backing out if we made you do that. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And just like she was very drunk when she made these phone calls, but she was like, no, we're going to stand up for this. Like, we're not just going to let people take advantage of you again. Mm-hmm. We're not playing this game. And like, this is not why you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And so I really just liked that.
And that
her,
sorry, I didn't.
No, it was just like her bravery in that, of just to be like, no, we're done.
Mm-hmm. Made her fearless. Liquid courage.
Sometimes that's terrifying.
In that same context, before this happens, the night before, when JeongWoo has carried her home, lays her in her bed, and you just see you see her pick up her phone, and she makes a call, and here I'm like, this is gonna be so sweet. She's gonna tell her mom, like, thank you for always being there and all these things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you get sappy sometimes, or I mean,
you get sappy sometimes when you are intoxicated. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. She answers and she's like, Mom, I'm gonna be working late. Don't expect me home. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. She hangs up, and then she kind of turns toward JeongWoo without really ever opening her eyes and goes, I told my mom I'm going to be working late, so I'm just going to sleep in your house tonight. And there's just this moment where JeongWoo's like, I'm going to die now.
This is how it ends.
This is how it all ends. And HaNeul's mom looks at him and just goes, and leaves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Well, her sense of humor is just hilarious, because she's
really
like...
is. Well, and she trusts him. She really, truly loves the guy.
Well, and also knowing, like, how out of character this is for her daughter.
Yeah.
She's just, like, kind of enjoying her daughter being a total dork.
Yeah, normal person.
And so she's like, all right, bye.
But the next morning, JeongWoo gets his revenge because HaNeul wakes up in the living room. And she's like, what happened? Why am I here?
Well, because, yeah, her mom goes, I'm so sorry, I cannot give you such an obnoxious daughter of mine. Like, that's not fair to you. And he's just going, she's so cute.
And BaDa's like, I think this is the first time I've ever seen you embarrassed of HaNeul.
Sorry. Anyways, it was a lot of fun.
There's some kimchi fried rice if you want it.
Nah, it's fine.
Killjoy.
He hates kimchi. He's like, it smells like garbage in here.
I'm sorry that you married somebody who loves garbage, apparently.
The other thing I loved was the classmates reuniting in episode 15. So when when he comes to the door and it was the one that was always kind of a little more receptive and I think a little more genuine toward JeongWoo.
Right. He wasn't the one who clocked him.
Right.
In the beginning of the show.
Right. And so I feel like they had a little bit more of an open relationship. He was the one who went and apologized. And I always think it's funny when it's an apology and they bring a gift of apples because sagwa is apology and apple.
Yep. I wonder if they did that on purpose.
I don't know, maybe.
Like when like doing like homonyms and stuff like in Korean, if they're like, this is like this is how you apologize, is like you give
I don't know.
an apple. Okay, anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. I don't know. That would be funny. And then he goes to their food truck later,
Mm-hmm.
and the same friend, he's like, I'm so glad you came. I was really hoping that you would accept my apology. He's like, you should eat something, all these kinds of things. And he's like on the verge of tears. And we see the other classmate, the one who punched him, is being really just kind of not really wanting to engage.
Invasive, really.
Yeah.
Just
and
like,
you realize he's just embarrassed. Like, it all went so badly, and his pride was hurt, and he feels bad. He just doesn't know how to admit it. And they start crying, the two of them, and they just feel sorry. And the one's like hugging JeongWoo.
well, I like that JeongWoo calls him out too, and he's like, "What? I don't even get a hello or a sorry."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm sorry.
I'm
so sorry."
But I love that how that resolves, because I'd always hoped that there was like genuine friendship underneath all of the crap that happened.
Yeah.
And I think there was. I think they just kind of got drunk on the fame of it all. But they all go out for drinks, right? And they're just talking about how, you know, everything kind of shook out, and they're going, do you still talk to HaNeul? I hope not. We really hated her in high school, and you did too. And as they're saying these things, she walks up behind them. And
they're like, don't say that you just got forgiven. How could you, how insane would he be to date horrible HaNeul? What? Wow.
We air a lot of dirty laundry in the next couple of minutes, because we learn that the tall classmate that punched JeongWoo actually had a crush on HaNeul because she helped him with a math problem. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I just needed you to stop talking.
Like, you were annoying
muttering
me.
to yourself. I just needed you to stop. Uh-huh. And then he was like, well, we were just taking cues from JeongWoo, because he said all the terrible things about you. And he, like, in one of the scenes, he has, like, this rap about how bad she is at calculus.
It was fabulous, honestly.
It was very funny. And so, I don't know. I thought, like, that was a nice little way to wrap up all of the hard conflict. Feelings between all of those guys. Where, like, they were just kids, and now they can, I don't know,
be grown-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. When DaeYoung, I mentioned earlier how he was typing out this monster text to tell HongRan that he liked her, and when he makes it simple and says, HongRan, I like you, please accept my love, he sends it to his daughter instead, because she kept messaging him like, hey, Dad, can we have this? Can we have this? And she comes in and was like, do you like her or not? Like, is she the one who did X, Y, and Z? You know, the macaroons, the allowance, the bras, the whatever. And he's like, well, yeah. And she's like, well, if you know you like her, like, why are you not doing anything about it? And she like, okay, you're gonna get like a small bouquet of flowers. Don't do a big one. That's too much. And like gives advice to her dad on how to ask somebody out. And like, that's a totally different child than the one who was like, you don't understand anything, which is a typical teenager thing to do. But his attempt to ask HongRan out was painful, but also cute.
Which is kind of DaeYoung in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Painful, but cute.
You know, we see like their text conversation for them to meet up, and he's running and he sees her and calls her name and then jumps over the hedge and falls, and of course falls into a kiss. So that's just what they do now. Because their previous conversation had been her saying, to me, dating is like drinking. It's great when it's going down. It's fun when you feel tipsy, but then like when you wake up the next day with the hangover and reality hits you in the face, like, I don't want to do that. And so he tells her, I know you know how to hold your liquor, so let's just go for it.
Well, then I like at the very end, they say it's like plum wine. It's what do they say? Love is like, dating is like plum wine.
It's sweet, like, waiting for it.
Yeah, it's like good to like wait for it. I don't know.
I I don't remember what it was specifically. But yeah, like that was just cute because it was he was still himself being
Yeah.
a clumsy dork.
Yep. It was beautiful. Wolsun's revenge. The snooty ants are being the snooty ants because they're snooty.
Because they're snooty.
And they're talking about how HaNeul is just so pitiful, doesn't have a job, doesn't have a man, like where's she even going in life? And I'm sure Wolsun's gonna try to
She'll be all depressed when she gets here.
Yeah, she's gonna be so sad and she's just going nowhere in life. And we just see Wolsun walk up the stairs in like slow-mo and she's looking bougie. She's got these nice little boots on, this brand new dress with the furs.
Boots with the fur. I'm sorry.
It ran through my head, but I wasn't gonna say it. Oh man, but she is like ready to deliver this news because she
devastating blow.
Engaged to a multi-millionaire.
She's a professor now.
She's a professor in a very working prestigious cases, making the news. Like she's happy.
The other thing I love is when BaDa like commits to learning how to make Milmyeon and makes it for his family. And they're like HaNeul starts crying. She's so proud of her brother. Like he's stuck with it. His mom is so proud. Obviously, TaeSeon is like, yeah, I trained him how to do that. But then, of course, they never give any context clues to JeongWoo, so it gets him in a lot of hot water. I think that's really most of the problem.
He really is.
Is no one gives him context clues ever. And so he's just flailing. And they're like, give your honest opinion. And he's
they didn't mean that.
He's like, well, it's a little bland. And it's probably because I was late, but the noodles are a little soggy. Which that would make total sense. Like, that's not the fault of the person who made it. It's if you're not there. And they take the bowl away from him.
And they're like, TaeSeon's like, outside now.
It literally stands and holds the door open.
And HaNeul has to explain it, and he feels really bad.
He's like, no wonder I got kicked out. I just rejected his beautiful work.
Yeah, it was very cute. But the photo shoot of BaDa paying for HaNeul's dinner with his first paycheck.
Gold.
It was beautiful.
Gold.
But I also love how he takes the time. He's like, Mom, you have to get a nice bag. And she's like, I don't know. She's kind of hemming and hawing. And she looks at the price tag. She's like, absolutely not. And she books it out of the store. And he tries to drag her back. But she's just like, no, you're not spending your hard-earned money on this. And finally, they like compromise on the little wallet. And the conversation that these two have over ice cream is...
that was the best conversation between the two of them because it's gone from a lot of bickering. No, you can't have beef. What did you do today? Like, you don't have a job. You don't go work.
Right.
And to him being like, stop sweeping everything underneath the rug. Like, we need to be open and honest about this. We need to have real communication here. And so they've gone through like this very childish, immature bickering, even though it's mother-son. And this was the most lovely conversation that they've ever had.
It really dispels like this belief that he has, and he's never like held it against anybody, but this belief that he has that he is lacking compared to HaNeul, and she has never once put them in the same categories and said one of you is better than the other.
Right.
She's like, he says, I know you named me BaDa because BaDa is like the sea and HaNeul's like the sky, and you wanted me to compliment her. She goes, no, I love the ocean. The ocean is beautiful. I dream of the ocean. I named you after the thing that I dreamt of. Yeah,
it was like, I wanted to name you like Rainbow or whatever the word is for rainbow. And she's like, but I had a dream of a rainbow over the glistening ocean. And I knew that that's what you were supposed to be called.
Yep. So he in and of himself is his own form of like beauty. And then HaNeul is her own form of beauty. And so success is never going to look the same for those two because they have different goals, different aspirations, different personalities. And she's like, if you want to work in the Milmyeon shop the rest of your life, that's great. You want to be a building owner? That's great. Do something and make sure it's something that makes you happy. And then I'm good. Like,
that's all I need.
That's all I ever wanted from you. and just the little moments where he's like, this is great, and he's like, let me take a picture of you in front of your ice cream, and it's just so
It's
sweet.
so, because he even is like, Mom, you're sounding really cheesy.
Yeah, because
Like,
he doesn't know how to take that from her.
So precious.
But you can tell that it soothes something that maybe like an
He
area
needed.
of insecurity he didn't really know that he had.
Yeah.
Because he never faulted anyone for it, but it was nice to hear.
Yeah.
So
It was a needed thing to hear. It was so sweet.
it was very sweet.
I loved that part. I think that was probably one of the best moments in the show. Because it was just a genuine, like, I'm not trying to get anything from you. I'm not trying to, butter you up for something. I was like, no, this is how I view you because I love you.
Yep.
The BaDa has taken off with his social media and making Milmyeon.
Yeah.
And a woman walks into the restaurant. And she's like, does like deliveries, and he goes, yeah, we don't do deliveries. She's like, oh, I'm not here to, do a delivery. I'm here to get food. And TaeSeon is standing in the doorway and calls out her name, and like,
Adorable.
they were into each other.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. It was so cute.
Well, and I told you I couldn't really discern her age at first, and I was like, oh, maybe BaDa has like a love interest, and then they really like they threw me for a loop there. But then now when we were talking about it when you were over earlier, and I realized that he's Ichiro from Kyungsun Creature, and I was like, whoa. Wait,
Pause.
I don't like you.
You're a terrible person.
You're a terrible human. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, well, because we both sat there and you're going, because we're trying to think of the dramas that he's in, and you're like,
Why do I know him?
I don't know why I know who you
For some reason, I feel like he's a bad guy. Like, yeah. The worst.
we talked about him, in fact.
The worst guy. Season 3. Season 4.
For
Kyung
Kyungsun Creature.
I did the thing! You did! I can't laugh anymore.
Oh no, laugh away. Because it's hilarious. Okay.
I love that HaNeul defended herself to her boss.
Yes, that was wonderful.
When she had the job opportunity to go to the United States taken away from her very unfairly because the original person that was asked changed their mind after she had already accepted. HaNeul had already accepted. And then the original person was like, nah, I think I'll go. And they took it away from HaNeul. And she handled it really gracefully. She's like, this is not like a threat to quit, but you told me to be open and honest. I'm going to be open and honest with you about this injustice that I feel was aimed at me.
Yeah.
And that was wrong of you. You needed to know that, and I'm not going to hold it inside because that landed me in a really bad place before. So if you ask me to be honest, I'm going to be honest. And then she is. And then she moves on from it. And I think that was kind of a cool growth point for her. To be able to say that bad things happen to everyone. Yeah. And you just have to roll with it.
Yeah, figure out how to move on from it because it's really not.
It's nothing you did. TaeYoung pushing baby bird JeongWoo out of the nest.
Yes.
Saying, HaNeul is off chasing her dreams.
Time for you to go to yours.
You got to get out of here. Like, don't get stuck in this rut. It's time for you. You have the capital. You have your confidence back. You've got your mojo. Get out there and start doing things.
Well, and knowing that JeongWoo was never going to bring it up himself. And being like, nope.
He's been such a good friend.
Fly.
Because they were getting a lot of business.
Yeah.
Having JeongWoo
Well, that's really, because he even makes it as like a sort of an excuse of like, dude, I can't handle your paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, you're expensive.
Your fee's way too high.
You're a lot for me to hold up to, and I don't know that I can.
It was I love, it just goes to show like the difference between DaeYoung and KyungMin. Because there was a little bit of that, what can I get out of you sort of thing.
Oh, completely.
But yeah, I love just like the healthy relationship that those two have. It's beautiful.
When he opens his clinic, finally. His new clinic.
Yes. And he gives the sketchy anesthesiologist a job.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool. Because he's really not sketchy. He just kind of looks like he's a serial killer.
He just doesn't give off a very good vibe.
Not very friendly and warm.
Aura. But of like when he and HaNeul like have their own like mini opening of just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then go off to see the ocean because that was what he had wanted to do before the job before the going overseas opportunity was taken away. So they get to go to the ocean and finally see the sunrise. And he sits there and asks her, like, okay, like, I proposed to you. Like, I don't have an answer. She goes, our wedding photo shoot is next week.
I know.
I don't know what you want from me.
In my mind, I'm going, you never said yes? Like, what?
Well, because that was the other thing we didn't talk about was the jewelry and him dressing her up.
In a tiara. Tiara, earrings, necklace, bracelet.
And ring.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because she even takes the tiara off and she's like, that's too much.
Yeah, the tiara. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I'm just saying, I would like to be gifted a tiara. I would wear it. I'm not saying I'd wear it in public, but I would wear it.
I just go over to your house, you answer the door like, yes. You're in your sweats and your tiara.
I've done that.
No.
I've never answered the door. But like, there's been times I have this crown that I had bought for like a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
That just gets like shoved into a shelf. So I always forget I have it until I'm like cleaning things out and I'm organizing, and then I'll find it and I'm like, yeah, we're wearing you now.
You and my daughter.
Absolutely. I'm so in. I will bring it. I will try to bring it and just wear it for an episode one time. Just like, no.
Please do. I'll wear my daughter's princess crown.
Yes. Absolutely.
Hers is Little Mermaid, though.
Still great.
But I love her response to his question, and he's expecting something very sweet and sentimental, and she just goes, let's get married already. Because really, that's all you have to say to me after all of this time. Very cute.
Yeah. And that's the whole show, really.
Oh my gosh, we talked too much. I have a lot of editing to do.
I apologize.
Oh my gosh. 140 minutes. Good thing my class hasn't started yet.
Right. So, what did you think of the show overall? Because this was your first time watching it all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It took me a minute to warm up to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of that was just not feeling the chemistry right away.
Right.
And I kind of struggle with Park Shin-hye. I don't know if romance is her strength as like an actress. I could see her being a really great like dramatic lead. I don't know. I don't really know. I struggle to gel with her like believability with like relationships. And maybe that's just like a personal preference thing. But I think once we got into more of like the cutesy relationship stuff, I feel like maybe she as an actress sort of like warmed up to it. Because I mean, it's Park Hyung-sik. He's
the most precious thing.
Adorable, yeah. And so it'd be hard not to just sort of have fun with it.
Yeah.
And so I felt like we saw elements of like their real life friendship maybe kind of sneak in, making it seem more natural, more comfortable.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of comfortable like moments between the two for most of the show.
Well, and like I told you, the very last scene where they're running around and giggling after she said the let's get married thing. And I was like, I feel like that's the most like believable emotion I've seen out of her this whole show was when they were giggling and laughing and running down the beach. And I feel like that was kind of a glimpse of Park Shin-hye and Park Kyung-sik.
Yeah.
Not necessarily JeongWoo and
HaNeul.
HaNeul. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too critical. Maybe her acting style just isn't my cup of tea. I don't know. I will rewatch it like 100%. But I definitely struggled to watch it the first time. But having seen like the progression of things, I think I would easily watch it again. But the first half is kind of, I'm not sure.
There's a lot of heavy.
There is a lot of heavy
in the first half.
Yeah.
Of the show.
And so for me to not feel like I see the chemistry between them, romantically at least.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they have like sibling chemistry like right off the bat. So I don't know. I'd have to watch it again, just sort of with a more casual eye, I think, to see if I really loved the first half as much as I enjoyed the second half. I told you the mom, I could not stand her.
She
at first
is insufferable.
In the first
few episodes,
and I was not sure if I was going to be able to stand her. And then she ends up being one of my favorite characters by the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like the talent of that actress, because she is also in Parasite.
Which blew my mind. I could not see her the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, crazy, right? And she is also the mother in True Beauty.
Which I have not watched yet, and I've done that on purpose for you.
And she is like, her character throughout basically is like as crazy as the first episode. So what's her Wilson?
Yeah.
Is so I mean, she has some redeeming things obviously, but it's rough.
Ma'am.
It's a fun watch though. What about you?
I mean, this was my second time watching it, and I think I enjoyed it more this time around.
Yeah.
Than the first time around, and I really enjoyed it the first time around. But I really do think part of it is doing it as a condensed version almost made it more enjoyable, because there's so much heavy in the beginning part that if that would have been like
dwell on it. Right,
that would have been like
a month.
Goblin, but worse.
I don't know, it's pretty hard to top Goblin.
But not like in an entirety, because Goblin has some pretty harsh, like, heavy things, but it has a lot of fun, like, sprinkled throughout it because it's so heavy. Mm-hmm. Whereas Doctor Slump, there's still fun, but it's...
The first act did not have fun.
It was very, very muted, if there was any, and it was just very dark cloud. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely think the second watch is far more enjoyable. Still, the best scene and my favorite scene of the entire show is them wailing and weeping on the bench, hugging each other, because they are just... That's where they are at right now.
Yeah.
It is the most relatable. Like, it is just kind of hilarious.
It really is.
Like, that's still, like, my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Of the whole show. And then I think my second one would be when he's crying to Wilson. And he's like, I'm just struggling and I don't know what to do. And he has, like, that moment. But overall, I mean, Park Kyung-sik, like, we love you. So
I think it was a great show.
Yeah, it's very well done and just
hit on some very important topics, and I think in a very real, relatable way, which I appreciated. And so they didn't really paint things with any kind of like rosy shades and but still provided that there is a light at the end of the tunnel sort of feeling, because there is. I mean you learn how to move through those seasons of life, and like it doesn't stay that way forever, just like the happy times don't stay that way forever, and that's just sort of the ebb and flow of
life.
Yeah, so I thought they handled that pretty well. But yeah, I'll definitely watch it again, much more casually. But I I will watch it again. So
That's the most important
check
thing.
that off in the notebook. Will watch again. Would recommend.
10 out of 10.
Goblin would not recommend.
I still will recommend because I've still watched it several times.
I can't bring myself to watch it again yet. It's just too soon.
That is fair. And I think
I will soon. I'm feeling
It might be
feeling
time.
like I'm gearing up for it.
This is my bad of recommending you watch that one for your first time go through, and the way that we had everything structured then
It was rough.
was a bit unfair to you to be like, I have to sit in every single moment of this show for months.
Man, we really did it to ourselves. Though.
And so I think when you get to the point where you can't watch it again, it won't be as
painful.
It'll still be painful because it's
Goblin.
It's Goblin, but it won't destroy you in the same way.
Well, like, you expect the last episode to give you some sort of relief, and it, like, drives it home the hardest. It is the final nail in the coffin. And the ending, even though it could be interpreted as somewhat, like, happy, it's just not happy. Like, all of that for her to just die in a bus accident when she could have easily parked the car, stepped out of the car, not died. Happily ever after. I guess until she dies of old age and she has to reincarnate. But my point is...
I broke her.
I'm sorry. We're at 150 minutes. I gotta go.
Okay,